Hey guys, Ruler Gaming here, back again with another video. So today, this series I've been talking about my favorite games. So today I'm going to be talking about Soul Blazer. If you're not familiar with this game, I highly recommend picking it up, finding it on emulation, anything to give this game a try. The reason I recommend this game is on several different levels that I'm going to kind of go through and talk about in the video. Now you'll notice that this video is also a different format. I'm going to be basically all gameplay, and I'm going to be kind of just talking while you guys kind of watch what this game is about. So with Soul Blazer, one of the first things I wanted to talk about with this game is the fact of that it's one of the first RPGs that came out. The reason why this is kind of important is because it kind of relates to something later on where I found out later on in life how valuable this game could be, and that it's now one of the most sought out games out there. It's because it was one of the first RPGs. You know that because back in the day where consoles weren't, obviously made for high intensity games and things like that, they made games to kind of give people an incredible story to follow. It's kind of like a movie. I know a lot of the newer games, they still try to do that, and it's actually more like a movie now than it was back then, but the level of story and effort that went into the story is far greater than anything that you see from today's gaming. So coming back to role-playing game, the fact that this is a role-playing game is kind of important to me, mainly because when I was a kid and watched my dad play these games, I didn't know there was different genres of games. I had no idea. I didn't even know what a genre was probably back then. I didn't know there's different names for different styles of gameplay. I had no idea. So as I got older and I kind of started playing different games, so I'm going to talk about a lot of the games that I played, but I played all sorts of styles of games like first-person shooters, MMORPGs, RPGs, RTS, like all sorts of different games. With this one in particular, when I realized what RPGs were, and I came back to this game, I was like, oh, like this now has a whole new layer of interest to me, because now I understand how game works and why it does what it does. And I realized too, I was talking to my partner and we were in the car. We were talking about this video, and I was trying to figure out what it was exactly I was going to kind of talk about. One of the things that I wanted to mention was the fact that because I didn't know what RPGs were back in the day, but then now knowing what they are, this game had a huge role to play in my love for World of Warcraft. And I will talk about World of Warcraft in a different video, but to kind of relate it to the correlation to each other is when I first started playing World of Warcraft, I didn't know anything. Same kind of thing. Like I just knew like leveling up was good. I didn't know that there were specific stats or specific armor that was meant for my particular class I was playing. All that like detail stuff I had no idea about. So when I first started playing World of Warcraft, let's just say I definitely was picking gear for the wrong reasons, certain pieces of gear. So when I came back to this game after I had played World of Warcraft, it was almost like a joke. So so coming back to Soul Blazer and the RPG factor, is that the RPG factor leading into World of Warcraft, because World of Warcraft has also completely changed my life in the way that I view people and view games. And that's why the point that I was trying to make here is that the RPG is important because of how it led into my life and changed me as a person, because going from this to then World of Warcraft, applying those same things that I did in this game and then into World of Warcraft. Of course, World of Warcraft, because you're playing with other people, you then learn from your mistakes. You learn what you're doing wrong and how the game is supposed to be played to a certain degree. And so it was kind of just, it was just a funny thought I had thinking back of the correlation between the two games. Now, Soul Blazer itself, if you didn't pay attention to the beginning with the text of the story, the short version is there's a king. He obviously, because in every game, a king or royalty always wants more power, wants to become more rich. So he was given a choice by the villain called Death Toll, that if he brought, if the king brought Death Toll all the creatures of the world, he would get a gold piece for every creature he brought. So eventually the king brought him literally every single creature in the world, and thus destroying the world. There was nothing left. And there's some religious connotations here where there's a master and then there's you, the apprentice, and you're both the only ones left in this particular world, but you're watching it all from their metaphoric heaven. So like up in the sky, you're watching this all happen. So then the master, aka God, sends you, aka an angel, down to the world to then save it and bring back all the creatures and that were taken away. So that's literally basically the story. Now, what makes RPGs an amazing game style is the story, is the effort put into the story. And that's one of the reasons this is one of my all-time favorite games, is that particular story. As well as how the gameplay is quite unique. What I mean by that is, yes, it's very typical. You're a hero, you're saving the world, there's a villain you gotta kill, there's bosses, all that kind of stuff is all very generic, all the same. But what's unique about it is, one, you have waves of guys that come at you. It's not just one guy kind of spawns and then you kill it and then you move on to the next guy. It's waves of guys coming out of these spawn points. Once you kill the designated number of guys that are in that spawn, you then really have a button that you can go and you click. And you are probably seeing this all in the gameplay right now. And with that, that's how you release the creatures, the people, the whatever, back into the world, by killing these spawn points and like basically standing on a button to then release them. And I find this super unique. I've never really seen that kind of style in a game before. Granted, I haven't played every game in the world, so there could be lots of other games that have that style, that wave to causation style. Now, and the other part that makes it unique is not only do you have that battle, that combat, that style combat, but also the fact that you're releasing these creatures, people, and places out of nowhere. Because when you go and you play any other game, it's always like a physical prison that you're trying to take the people out of. You're trying to free them from usually a physical prison or, a magical prison, whatever, but it's still a physical entity in the game that you're trying to free them from. This, you're freeing them from a whole another world. It's not like all of these things, these houses and creatures and plants are all in a physical cage. That's not how this game works. It's literally they've been taken to a different world and you're bringing them back to the rightful place. And that, to me, I don't know why it gives me such an emotional feeling towards it. Like, it makes me feel so connected to the game, I guess you could say, like really immersed in what you're doing. And so that is like super unique to me, super interesting, and basically the main reason why I love this game and why I would recommend it to anybody that loves storytelling and wants something that's different than what they've played before. Because yes, it has, even though it has like very similar RPG aspects to any other RPG, the story and how you obtain your goal is unique. The other reason I love this game is the music. The music is phenomenal. It's no Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time music, I'll give it that. But it is, even though it's super repetitive, like most like SNES games are. It's very repetitive in what you're doing. It's always super immersive for me. You know where you are, you know what you're doing in that particular area. So for example, like when you go back to town, it has a very distinctive music. It has happy music, it has cheerful, you've done something amazing, you've saved people and you've brought them back to where they belong kind of music. And you feel that as soon as you go back. You know that you've done something awesome. And that just makes me feel good. That gives me immersion. That makes me feel like I'm in the game and I'm there for a purpose. It's not just a game anymore. It's I am Soul Blazer. I am the apprentice. I am doing this to make things right. So that gives me a lot of feels, a lot of emotions. And one of my favorite actually like sound bits is one of my favorite like pieces of music in the game is when you're it's the boss battle. Now I'll probably throw in a little bit of clip of that particular music just so you can kind of hear it, but it's definitely one of my favorites. Anytime you go in a boss battle, you know you're in a boss battle, you're ready to fight, you're ready to go. It's just, I don't know, it just, again, it gets you immersed in what you're doing, and it's phenomenal, and it makes me kind of forget about the world around me. So it's really, really, really well done. Now, my overall like kind of thought on this game is the fact that it's very simple, but it's well done. It's very, you do this, you do that, you get it done. It's linear, like there's no like side quests really. It's just you kind of do it and it happens. But again, because of the immersion, the unique gameplay and mechanics, and the ability to kind of be in a different world and kind of, like every other game, you're in a different world usually, but I don't know, there's something about this game that really makes it different and makes you feel feelings that you may have never felt before, which is funny to say, but it's really interesting to me how a game can really just change not only how you feel, but it can change your life later on from the experiences you had playing this game. This game means a lot to me, and again, it brings back memories of when I was a kid and watching my dad play. So I just kind of want to also talk about, I want to let you guys know my favorite levels and my least favorite levels in the game. I don't know the names of the levels, I do apologize. I will put a little blip up showing you what the names are, so you guys can then maybe Google them or Google gameplay from them, so you can kind of see exactly what I'm talking about. So my all-time favorite level is the stage starts out, you're in this abandoned building. You know that it's abandoned because there's wallpaper falling off, there's pieces of lumber in the corners, there's literally no sign of life in this building, and it was clearly been like that for quite some time. And so you go up these stairs, you're on this floor, and you kind of just explore every room, and there's nothing around. You go upstairs again, and you go to the last room, and suddenly there's a pinball machine. And so you're like, okay, that's weird. So you go and you interact with this pinball machine, and suddenly you get sucked into it, and you become like miniature. And your enemies then turn into like little miniature toys that you have to fight. So there's little miniature rocking horses, there's miniature army men, and I don't know what it is particularly about it. I think a lot of it has to do with the music. The music in that level is amazing. Just makes me feel all over. And just the uniqueness of the enemies. Like I really like the little mini rocking horses. I think it's really cute and really fun. So like it's really appealing to like not only like maybe adults but also kids. They get to this level and they get to like fight their toys, which is kind of cool. Again, the music is like the biggest factor of it. It's my favorite all-time level, and I wish it didn't take so long to get there because it is a later level. My least favorite level is the stupid boiler room level. It makes me so frustrated every time I get there because it's so boring, it's so bland, it's so samey that you're like, there's like pipes, you're basically walking on pipes the whole time, and then sometimes there's hot zones that you kind of have to wait for them to dissipate and then walk over. Very typical game mechanic. But the enemies are all like just like like metal versions of things. So like there's like a metal caterpillar, there's like a helicopter dude that's super obnoxious. You have to have a particular sword to even kill these guys. It's so annoying. I hate it so much, and I wish it would just never existed in this game because it definitely doesn't ruin the game for me, obviously, but it is not fun to play in the slightest. So I mean, if you get there, try to beat it as fast as you can. You might like it, some people might like it, I don't know. And the music is very bland too. I didn't even think about that, but the music is very blah. It's basically not immersive. Like you're just on some pipes and you're killing stuff. Like it's super bad in my opinion. But really, that's really the only real bad part in the game for me, is that particular level. Again, I'll put up what that level was, and so you can possibly see some gameplay of that. And I guess my overall thought about Soul Blazer is the RPG factor in these old games, even though they were simplistic, the story was just super well done because they didn't have the technologies back in the day to make these really immersive movie-like feelings in a game. But they did have amazing writers. They had amazing stories, and because compared to today, everything's just a rewrite. It's just a recycle of something that's already been done before. Whereas this is something that came out of something original. Somebody took the time and effort to create this story and bring passion to it and bring care to it, and that basically is the main reason why this game holds so much for me and gives me those emotions, because the feels are everything. So, you know what, guys, like, I know this is a shorter video, I know it's a little bit clunky, I know it's a little bit all over the place, but I hope you enjoy it. If you played Soul Blazer before, please let me know what you think and what are your favorite levels and what's your least favorite level. As well as, if you haven't played this game, go ahead and give it a try. If you can't find someone that has a SNES in the game, go ahead and download an emulator if you feel comfortable with it, and just give it a go. I think you will be pleasantly surprised. It is very simple but very fun, and I think you will find yourself really immersed in the game once you kind of get into it and really admiring everything about it. And so, thanks you guys again so much for watching and for all your continued support. Please let me know any feedback or any concerns, questions in the comments below, as well as like and subscribe. Sharing this video and getting it to your friends and family is what's the most important thing for me, and getting people to view my content so then I can continue to make content. So, thank you guys again so much. Have a great day. Love ya.